Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Rock Squad podcast, your destination for the latest in rock music news, reviews, and discussion. I'm one of your hosts, Nick Chino. I'm joined by my co-host and bandmate, it's Dave Marini. What's up, Dave?
Hey, everybody. How's it going? Before we get started today, make sure you go down to the bottom of this video and you subscribe to our channel, the Rock Squad Pod. Also, like this video. And if you have any comments about this video, please be sure to fill it in the comment box below. You can find the Rock Squad Pod on Instagram, on Twitter. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram, Red Coast Records. Nick, my friend, how are you?
Doing okay, man. Yeah, I got a record in the mail the other day.
Nice.
I thought I would show it here on the show. I did get
What
the
is it?
version earlier a couple weeks ago, but I got the new
Nice.
Gallagher Back the Way We Came Volume 1 LP. And this thing, it's cool, man. It's pretty heavy duty. 2 LPs. You got the little, you got the,
very cool.
The track list with some little anecdotes about each of the songs from Noel. And then the records themselves. I didn't get any fancy colored vinyl or anything like that. Just the
Uncle
regular.
Noel didn't throw it in for you?
What?
Uncle Noel didn't throw it in for you?
No. Well, I could have gotten the fancier version on his website, but anyways.
Awesome. Looks good.
Look how shiny that is. Doesn't that look so nice and shiny?
It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
And it's a solid compilation too. Like if you're you're a diehard Oasis fan or Noel Gallagher fan, or even if you're a new fan who wants to listen to Noel and you heard him on Spotify or anything like that and you want to get more into his music, this is a great entry into Noel Gallagher's solo stuff. He's got a lot of strong material.
Yeah, man. It reminds me kind of like when Aerosmith did Big One.
Yeah.
Where it was like just like the perfect combination of like hits and newies, and yeah, it's good. It's cool.
That's the first CD I ever bought.
Big Ones?
Big Ones.
It was definitely on my top, like it was in my top 10, like my first 10 that I got. Like
yeah.
I had some Foo Fighters, I had Alanis Morissette, Jagged Little Pill. I had what else? I had that. There's a few goodies. Good top 10s for sure.
I don't know if it's uncool for me to say that one of my first CDs was also Hootie and the Blowfish. Cracked rear view.
You know what? Yeah. You can throw Hootie and the Blowfish and I'll trump you with a Counting Crows.
Counting Crows is not bad though.
Yeah.
It's still, this kind of relates to our next conversation, but I think that music still holds up. I don't listen to Hootie on the reg or anything, but it's still good music.
Sure. Oh, they were, both Counting Crows and Hootie and the Blowfish for pop rock. And that time frame of music, they were, for pop writers, they were in a class of their own for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And that, like I said, that relates to our next topic here on the sound check. And that's the Eve 6 rock album review that I did on the channel.
Cool.
That's up there right now. Review of their new EP called Grim Value. And we talked a little bit about Eve 6 on the show previously, but this new EP is not good, in my opinion. It's been 9 years since they released their last batch of new music, which was excellent. Their last album, Speak in Code, was great. But this new thing, Dave, from our perspective, it's 15 minutes of music. There's a couple of songs that I related to saying in my review that the songs reminded me of when we jam with the band, and sometimes during jams we just write joke songs and we'll just mess around and say stupid things and just have fun. And that's what they recorded and put on their EP. There's 15 minutes of music, and then one song is a complete instrumental. So that feels a little bit like a waste to me. So I didn't like this new EP. And then I was thinking about in the review about how with 90s bands, especially like Eve 6 or Third Eye Blind or, bands that kind of came about in the late 90s, they're looked at as being very much of their era and not as being current bands. And I was wondering if Eve 6, even though they've had a lot of notoriety for being on Twitter lately and doing a lot of that kind of thing, that maybe they're trying to fight against the whole 90s one-hit wonder rock band thing and deconstruct the image a little bit more than they have in the past. That's what I felt they were doing.
It's too late. It's too fucking late. It's already done. You can't just take back that you're known as a one-hit wonder in most parts of the world. Like, that ship has sailed, my friends. You've built a career on one song.
But they have great music on all their records. And that's the thing.
They do. And I agree. I am an Eve 6 fan, but like, you can't turn your back. It's like bands that have been like legacy bands for 30, 40 years and they go play their shows and they're like, all right, I hope you want to hear the new record. Like, no, nobody wants to hear the new record. They want to hear the hits. Just play the hits. So
Yeah,
yeah,
for
that's
sure.
really disappointing that the EP didn't float your boat, because I'm normally down for whatever they're pumping out, and they're known for putting out some pretty quality material, especially
Yeah.
the stuff that you don't hear about. And like we've been talking about that too. We talked about that earlier today, about how they're one of the bands that fall into those bands that if you're not in their maybe designated touring cycle, that you'll never hear that they have new music out unless you're a
Mhm.
diehard and you
Right.
follow them online and you follow their mailing list and stuff. And there's tons of bands that fall into that category where it, up in Canada at least, you think that the band has stopped making music, like you said, like a Third Eye Blind, or like Everclear,
Right.
or American Hi-Fi, or Goldfinger, or MXP. Like there's a ton of bands that were very prominent in the mid to late 90s, maybe even into the 2010s, that for whatever reason, new labels, the new world of music, they don't get the same push in the outer reaches that they might have back in the day, back in the 90s, in the heyday. So they're definitely one of those bands. So that's disappointing to hear that it was such a shit show. I haven't checked it out yet, but I'm definitely gonna give it a spin to see what you're talking about. That's a little disappointing. And I'm thinking I don't want to even do it.
Well, it's worth a listen just once. I felt like it was something I would never re-listen to. And as someone is, I was talking about their last record, Speak in Code, that came out in 2012. It was such a great record. With the songwriting was so great, the performances, the production is amazing. It's just high quality rock music. And on this new EP, it feels very lazy. I know they lost the drummer over the last couple of years. He was a really great drummer. The new drummer is great as well.
Tony's not in the band anymore.
I'm not too sure what it. Yeah, I don't think so.
Tony Ferguson, right? Wasn't that
Yeah,
the drummer for a long
yeah,
time?
I think they have a new drummer now. And
Tony brought the goods,
it
man.
doesn't feel like their hearts are in it, and not that they have to be. I think they still are very much riding on being a touring band for being a 90s. I don't really call them a one hit wonder, maybe a 2 hit wonder or a 3 hit wonder.
Sure.
And
Yeah,
yeah, Third Eye
good
Blind's new
record.
music is cool, and they're still going strong. I understand the public perception's not there, and I think Eve Six is fighting a little bit against it. I was talking about how Max Collins from Eve Six is on Twitter a lot, talking about tour stories from the '90s, calling Inside Out the Heart in a Blender song, and just generally acting kind of weird, and that's fine. But that's a good way to get attention. But the music itself does not do it for me.
Yeah, it's brutal too, because it's been so long. Like it's
Mhm.
almost been 10 years since they've released something, right?
Yeah.
So to release something like, if you think you're going to release an EP, you better make sure all five are killer. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like, especially if you're making fans wait a decade. Like, why are you even doing it then?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't get it. I don't
Yeah.
get it. Come
I
on,
don't
Eve
get
Six.
it.
Step it up, Eve Six.
Step it up. You can check out the Rock album review up on the Rock Squad channel right now. So let's get to the main part of our show. We're going to get to our headliner topic in just a little bit. We're going to be talking about Nirvana's Smells Like Teen Spirit hitting 1 billion streams on
Whoa.
Spotify. But first, we have to get to our opening act topics of the week. The first one being that the Foo Fighters have released a Mark Ronson reversion of their song called Making a Fire, which is the lead track from Medicine at Midnight, a great rock and roll song from Foo Fighters on that record. But they've done a new thing with Mark Ronson and created a lounge/soul version of Making a Fire that's out right now. It features members of Antibolis, Budos Band, Dap Kings, Tedeschi Trucks Band, and a lot more, including Dave Grohl's daughter Violet is doing some vocals on it as well. It's a really, really cool version. Did you have a chance to listen to this Making a Fire version, Dave?
Yeah, I thought it was really cool, man. Ronson's always doing fun stuff, and it's interesting to see, them come together and do something really interesting. So yeah, it is what it is. It's like, there's a lot of that happening right now in Foo Fighters land, where it's like the quality of the Foo Fighters generally is so high that it's tough to really mess it up. So whether it's a documentary or a single or a bad song with Mick Jagger, it's bad, but it ain't that bad in the end of the day. It's no Eve Six EP,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Have you heard any of Mark Ronson's other reversions? He's done a really cool version of Britney Spears' Toxic that he did with Old Dirty Bastard. This was a long time ago.
Yeah. That's a great one.
Great
yeah,
one.
For sure,
And then he did, what was the other one I was talking about? Just, that he does with Phantom Planet, the Radiohead song.
With the Radiohead? Yeah.
That's
so
really cool. Yeah. And then he's got like good original stuff too. Like he's got the the Uptown Special album that he did. So he had Uptown
Yeah.
Funk with Bruno
Yeah,
Mars,
yeah.
and then he did some songs with Tame Impala that were really cool.
Totally,
Mark
man.
Ronson's a great producer. I really love the stuff that he does.
He's a great producer, great pop writer. He definitely has his own vision of things, and he pulls it off 9 times out of 10. So you have to give him credit for that, whether you're a fan of his original stuff or not. You know.
Yeah, for sure. And Dave Grohl said the song's in 6/8, and so they had some trouble kind of converting it into the loungy song that it is. It took a little bit of massaging of the song and the tempo and the overall structure to make it work, because yeah, it is a little bit, like it's got that very strange beat in it. So I was wondering how they would translate that. And it's weird when you think the way that Dave Grohl sings a song, it's definitely not on the one. He's coming in maybe on the I don't know the technical term. Maybe some of our listeners, we are musicians, but I've never looked at that and be like, oh, he's on the one, he's on the two, but it is maybe on the two or something like that makes it sound just a little bit left of center, which is cool.
Yeah, man. Sometimes the phrasing and writing and phrasing and rewriting or reworking something is all the difference. You can make something sound really heavy or really loungy with just how you're phrasing your first couple sentences in a verse. So yeah, it's really cool, man. I'm stoked.
Yeah, you can check that out. The Mark Ronson reversion of Foo Fighters' "Making a Fire" is out there right now on Spotify and wherever else. Our next opening act topic is that ZZ Top have announced a North American tour. It's been a long time. They've confirmed a 2022 run that they're going to be doing to make up for their time that they were off during COVID. This is a very extensive tour. It's going to be basically touring all of the United States, coast to coast, but it's going to be coming to Canada as well, with stops in BC, Alberta, Quebec, Newfoundland, and then somewhere within our neck of the woods at the Niagara Falls View Casino, which would be a cool place to see to ZZ Top. I'm a big ZZ Top fan. I wouldn't say diehard, but I love ZZ Top. If they come on the radio, I never turn them off. When you think about all their hits back in the day, "Give Me All Your Lovin'," "Sharp Dressed Man," "Lagrange," "Cheap Sunglasses," the song they did from Back to the Future Part 3, "Double Back." That's a great song as well. And they just, these guys are road dogs, ZZ Top. I don't think these guys are used to being off the road so much.
No.
So I think these guys are in their 70s now. They got to be getting up there. So, to think that they're doing a big run like this next year is pretty cool. But I'm just so glad that they're still around. They're still kicking ass.
Dude, ZZ Top, hands down, one of the greatest American rock bands of all time. Let's just look at it. First off, they're the longest reigning with the original members.
All three,
all three members from the 60s. Before the fucking Beards, before the Hot Rods, these three guys were playing music.
Blues,
listen to any behind the music or making of a record. I was watching one yesterday with Queens of the Stone Age, and Josh Homme said every time they go to do drums, the only thing he says to the engineer is, make it sound like a ZZ Top record.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't tell you how influential this band is and how fantastic they are, you'll never get it, And that's, and we know all about that going in with like references, like, can you make it sound like that? So when guys at that level, or that's their go-to for things like that, it's got that Sound City thing going. There's a great story that I heard about Eric Clapton. I used to be a big fan of like the Crossroads Festival that happens in Texas. And I've watched a lot of interviews with like the bands and artists that go down there. And Eric Clapton has a great story of when he first went to Texas with Cream, and like the first tour they ever did down there. And they went into a bar and everyone was ordering drinks. And Eric Clapton went up to the jukebox and he went to page 1 and it was all ZZ Top. And then he went to page 2 and it was all ZZ Top. And he went to page 3 and it was all ZZ Top. And he turns around and he sees the waitress. He's like, hey, what's the deal with the jukebox? It's all ZZ Top. And she stopped and she looked at him and she's like, what else do you need?
Yeah.
And it's fucking true, man. That band is as real as it gets. The Beards are awesome. The Hot Rods are awesome. The Sexy Legs songs are great. I love ZZ Top. I'm definitely going to try to go see them in Niagara Falls, if not Buffalo or around Ontario. They're one of those bands that I've never been able to catch live, but I'm a huge fan of. And last time that happened to me, it was the year that Tom Petty died. So I didn't go to Tom Petty, and I'm still regretting it to this day. So this year, ZZ Top. I'm going to be there. You want to go?
Yeah, I'll go. Yeah.
Fucking ZZ Top.
For
Let's
sure.
go see
Yeah, I'll go
ZZ
check it
Top.
out. The
Start
casino
growing your
crowd.
beard, buddy.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you know, the thing is about ZZ Top is I think they scratch the itch that we look for with a lot of rock that we like, which is high energy, very punchy, very driving rhythm, which is exactly what ZZ Top is all about. When you think about some of those big hits that they had back in the day, or even some of the new stuff that, you know, when I think about like, I gots to get paid and some of that stuff, right? They're very much high energy. And the funniest thing that I've always found about ZZ Top is that Frank Beard, the drummer of ZZ Top, is the only member of the band without a beard.
Yeah, and his name's Beard. It's perfect on so many levels.
They probably realized that a long time ago, and there's like, let's go with it. It's cool.
That's it. That's fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, we're going to see ZZ Top 2022. It's going to happen.
Decided. We're going.
We're going. All right, let's get to our next opening act topic on this week's Rock Squad podcast, and that is Amazon is launching the Classic Rock Vinyl Club Golden Era. It's this new vinyl of the month club that they're doing. So for $25 a month, they're going to send you this. You know, we're not sponsored by Amazon. I don't know why we're like promoting them, even though I did get this record from Amazon, Noel Gallagher. But they'll send you a classic rock album from the 60s and 70s in the mail. So it's going to have stuff like Led Zeppelin and Fleetwood Mac and Pink Floyd, stuff like that. So it's selected by a group of people at Amazon. And I guess it's a good way to catch up on records that you might have missed. I know that when it comes to music or really anything, Amazon is kind of the enemy. They're a little bit of an evil corporation, especially when you hear about how they treat their workers and how they generally run their business. You know, it's not like we need to be giving Amazon any more of our money. So I'm thinking it's a cool idea, but it is a little bit of a slap in the face to local record stores, mom and pop shops that they, you know, it's their livelihood to sell music. And you get a much more personal experience when you go to a local record store than when you buy from Amazon. But, you know, if you are a new collector of vinyl, if you're looking to expand your collection, I think this might be a cool way to do it. And you know that you're going to be getting at least something decent, or at least something that's considered significant in the history of classic rock music. So I suppose it could be cool for whoever wants to expand their collection.
Let's be very clear here, Nick. This deal and this promotion is only affecting the big wigs. This is a 1%. Let's line our pockets with easy money. Let's jump on the vinyl wagon. The only thing that sells right now is vinyl. Let's get in there with the biggest person that sells vinyl and fuck it. Don't use it. Don't get this service. I think that you should go to your local record store and you should go say hi to whoever the guy is behind the counter, ask him to order stuff and hold it for you. Talk person to person with these people. I think that everything that you just said is fantastic in theory until you start looking at the actual people that are affected by it. This isn't helping new music. This isn't helping new bands. This is just pushing reissues of catalogs. This is what has been inflating the vinyl numbers already, where people are like, oh, vinyl's hot again. And it is if you're in the 1% of the reissue catalog. So it's awesome. And if you like vinyl, by all means, sign up and get some records that you're not going to get. But between Nick, go to your local store, support the little guy, the mom and pop shop, because these kind of things, they don't last forever. And we're lucky to have those little shops that we have right now. If your town doesn't have one, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because you've got nowhere to go and talk music. So I am not going to sign up for this. I haven't added to my vinyl collection in about 10 years. I've been set on what I've got. I've got some good stuff. I've got some shit stuff. I think I got a record from Bruce Willis. I got the Raisins singing all sorts of songs. So I don't need anything new in my collection. If you're looking to get old stuff, go to the local, talk to the guy behind the counter, and tell Jeff Bezos to go to the moon.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, I totally agree. And like, I don't, I'm pretty good with the classics,
Sure.
I got everything I need, in terms of that. So there's not a lot that I would, thanks Dad for giving me all your records. Yeah. So there's not much I need in that regard,
This is a great deal for a husband and wife with, no kids, or their kids are off at school. Yeah. They just recently started smoking weed again.
Yeah.
And they have that coming every week. And then now Jeff Bezos sends them a fucking record from their childhood.
Yeah.
That's all this is. And if that's you, enjoy it. You deserve it. But for everyone else out there that's true music fans that want to support people, go to the mom and pop shops.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's a cool idea in theory, but yeah, I know what you mean when you say it's just lining the pockets of the big wigs and the classic rock bands who are already rich, and it doesn't really help out the new bands when it comes to, their new bands are not given an opportunity to be big enough to be able to be part of that that kind of situation. And I have a very love-hate relationship with the vinyl resurgence. Because on one hand, I'm very happy that people are buying music, and I'm not gonna knock people who want to buy music in any form, because I realize that artists need the support. They need more than Spotify streams. They need support in buying records, merch, touring. And so if you do love a band and you want to support them by going out and buying LPs and that's your thing, that's awesome. I'm still more of a CD guy. I get records every once in a while, but otherwise I'm good on that regard. But the thing I don't like about the whole vinyl resurgence is the whole, colored vinyl thing. So you got to get Noel Gallagher's new best of, but you can get it on, puke green vinyl. And then you can get it on, piss stained vinyl. And then it becomes more, and as somebody who's a collector as well, it becomes more about, I got to collect this version. I need this version of it. I need the blue version and the red version and the green version. And I'm not, again, that's still buying records and supporting the artist. So go for it all you want. But it takes a little bit out of the equation where it's actually about the music. It's not about the music. It's about buying pieces of plastic. And as you know, I'm a big, I collect a lot of toys. I collect a lot of Funko Pops and action figures. And I've come to a realization with a lot of that stuff is that it's all based on, well, this is rare, or this is exclusive, right? Or it's got this sticker on it, or from record store day or something like that. Instead of being like, I really want to get the songs that are on that record. I really want to hear the songs that are on this thing. You might not even spin it. You get the red green version of something. You might not even listen to it. So that's how I feel about vinyl. It's a little bit overrated.
Yeah, man, I totally agree. And like, we've been in the vinyl thing for a while, so like, we're not just like jumping in at it's because it's hot. And we love a good vinyl, but do it the right way. You know what I mean? Like, go to your boy at the record store.
Yeah.
Drop some money in the community. They can get the records for you too. Jeff Bezos isn't the only one with access to Led Zeppelin and Sabbath records,
And half the fun is going to the record store, flipping through and finding things that you might not expect.
Absolutely.
That's the fun part, right?
Absolutely.
Digging through the crates, and you can't do that.
Digging through the crates, record by record, getting the dust, the tickles in your nose from the dust. That's what you need.
Yeah, for sure.
That's it. Yeah, you got to get the rabbit nose going while you're going through those dusty old records. That's the way to do
it. For sure. All right, let's get to our final opening act topic for this week's Rock Squad podcast, and that there's a Scott Weiland biopic in the works. It's a new film. It's going to be based on the life of the late, great Stone Temple Pilots frontman, we love Scott Weiland. We love the music of STP. That's been no secret on this podcast. But this is going to be based on his 2012 autobiography, which was called Not Dead and Not for Sale. The movie's going to be called Paper Hearts. There's no word on who's going to play Scott Weiland, or if they're going to be able to use the music of STP or any of his solo stuff. Personally, I'm not very excited for this because I don't like rock biopic movies or music biopic movies in any regard. I often find them to be really stereotypical, really cheesy. There's always the big play up. I suppose in this movie, they'll probably do that as well. They always play up the sex, drugs, and rock and roll angle of everything. There's always a scene in the movie where the singer of the band is in the studio with his hand on the headphone, and they get the magic inspiration that they needed to write their biggest hit song. So, maybe it'll be it's almost like Vaseline. It's like, wait a minute, I got an idea. It's like, we should sing Tripping on a Hole in a Paper Heart. And they get the idea like a bolt of lightning. It's stereotypical. I don't like it at all. I would rather watch a music documentary about Scott Weiland than something like this.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, man. They have that scene, and then they also have the scene where they've been going at it for a while, and the singer's late to the party, like late to the session, and they're all standing around like, we're not going to take this. Somebody needs to say something. And then he comes, he always comes in like all disheveled, like he
just sunglasses on.
And they're like, he's like, and then it's always what's your problems? It's never, he always switches it like, I'm here,
Yeah.
Every movie, man, every movie has that scene in it. That's hilarious. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that either. I'm not a fan of the biopics. I feel like, especially artists like that I feel like a connection with, that we've followed their career and we've seen them perform and all that stuff. It's so tough for me to like sit back and see some hot trotting actor, some young guy.
Jared
like,
Leto or Scott Weiland.
I'm so crazed on heroin, and it's like, that's not how he was, So
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm all for a good movie, but like, I don't know. I think for whatever reason, that era of rock, even watching some of like the Elton John stuff, and like it's hard for me because I'm so invested in the actual art that I have to force myself to like step back and be like, don't be a snob about it. Like, you know what I mean? I know this wasn't how Rocket Man was written, but like, just sit there and take it,
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I'm not a big fan of those, and they always do. They fold into the like the cliches, and it's always super cheesy. The only biopic I watched, which was a hoot, and I feel like it was kind of on par, we've talked about it before, is The Dirt by Motley Crue.
Yeah.
And it's disgusting and it's trashy, and I think it's exactly what it's supposed to be. So you know what I mean? I couldn't imagine it any other way. But I've been disappointed through, like, I was disappointed with the Queen one. I was disappointed. I was disappointed with Elton John. Why bother? Like, you know what? Maybe for the next generation, like for my kids, do it. But for me, I'm not going to see that movie. I don't think someone between the ages of 15 and 25 is going to go. So who's it for? Like, that's what I want to know. Who's signing up for it?
Who's interested? Well, the biopics, most of them, some of them do, but most of them never even secure the rights to the music that they want to use for the artist. And so they always end up using some generic stuff that sounds like, the actual artist, but not really. I think in the Queen movie, they had access to the music, and Rocket Man, they did as well.
Yeah, they were part of the whole thing there. Yeah.
But most of them, I think there was a Jimi Hendrix movie with Andre 3000 that came out quite a while ago.
Did it come out? I didn't even know it
did.
Out.
Yeah, but there was no Jimi Hendrix music in it. So what's the point? You're
writing
about
all along the light tower.
Yeah.
Like, they just can't quite do it.
Yeah. When it comes to bands, it's always better to watch a really awesome documentary. When we think about the Foo Fighters documentary, or even, the What Drives Us documentary that Dave Grohl did recently, or
ZZ Top's got a great documentary out right now.
Documentary.
Unbelievable.
There's tons of them out there. Metallica, Some Kind of Monster.
Fleetwood Mac,
or anything, or an episode of classic albums or something like that. You're better off watching something like that than a biopic movie, because they don't really get deep into it in a biopic movie. Personally, I know as songwriters ourselves, as musicians, or just fans of music in general, we like to see a little bit more in-depth discussion about how they wrote the songs, how they got from point A to point B, how the band formed, and how they went through, the Beatles anthology, another great example. That's an 8-part documentary. It's a little bit of a cleanup of the overall Beatles story, but it's still a really, really intriguing documentary where they talk to the actual Beatles. They have audio and
2.5 hours of Ringo on a boat, but it's good.
Exactly. And them jamming on the lawn and stuff. But it's still cool, and it's very much informative. If you're a music fan who's wanting to get more into a band and you want to know more about their story, the Beatles Get Back documentary that's going to be.
I was just going to mention the new Peter Jackson film falls right into that category. Yeah, that stuff's compelling to me. I've never been a big even reading. I'm not a big reader. No. I like reading, but I always like autobiographies as opposed to.
Me too.
Like, you know what I mean, or biographies on topics as opposed to like fiction and stuff. I like to know real people's stories. I'll from how it started, how it finished, like the peaks and the valleys. Like, I've never been
more interesting than real life. Like, real life is the
exactly.
I love fiction. When it comes to fiction, I love movies and television. I'm not a big reader of fiction, but I'm the same as you. Biographies about bands. I wrote a biography about the Beatles, which was Mark Lewison's part 1 of his tune-in books that he's putting out. But then I read a good book about George Lucas and how he grew up and how he came up with Star Wars, which was really interesting. I really like reading that.
It's interesting too, because I've always been such a fan of bio-y kind of things. And now with podcasting, it's opened up a whole new level. Like you used to have to wait, like when we were growing up, you used to have to wait for a book to like cover all the topics. Now, if the artist is open and willing, you can just tune in and listen to him talk in detail about those trials and tribulations and how he overcame things and what really got him and his, you know, where his hardships were growing up and all that stuff, which is super compelling to me. And I think that's why the success of podcasting has happened the way it has, because I don't think we're alone. There's lots of people that don't like to read unless it's something that tickles that whistle, you know?
Yeah, for sure. All right, so let's get to our headliner topic on this week's Rock Squad podcast, and that is that Nirvana's Smells Like Teen Spirit has hit 1 billion streams on Spotify. It's actually the second song from the 90s to do that. My boys in Oasis with Wonderwall were the first band from the 90s to hit 1 billion streams on Spotify, but we're still very happy for Nirvana, for Kurt and Chris and Dave Grohl. They're not together anymore, obviously. But word is the band has made a total of $1 from these billion streams. I'm just joking.
65 cents in the mail, boys. 65 cents in the mail.
Congratulations, guys. You made it. But I still think that's cool because it's one of the biggest songs on any platform. And, you know, it speaks to the enduring legacy of Nirvana. Do you think this is something to be celebrated, Dave?
Dude, we say it all the time. Good music doesn't die.
Yeah.
You know, and that's this is a prime example of that, and Wonderwall. You know, people love those songs, and it's, you know, it's no surprise to me, man. That song changed so many people and changed the direction of what was happening. You know, people really forget that when that song came out, it was right as, you know, like latex and not latex, like all the what's
Condoms?
The spandex. All the spandex and the big hair was just coming out, or going down, and out of nowhere, you know, right. And out of nowhere came these dirty guys from Seattle, and I think people forget that how shitty music was.
Yeah,
like we're talking hair, like bad hair metal, and like Tiffany. You know, like,
what's wrong with Tiffany?
Hey, man, I think we're alone now, Nick. I think we're alone now.
You bad? Are you using the Rock Squad podcast to badmouth Tiffany?
Listen, man, I went to all the shows in the mall. All right, I gained 50 pounds on Cinnabon that summer.
It's going to be in the news tomorrow, like Dave Marini versus Tiffany.
And you know what, though? Honestly, Tiffany, I think we're alone now. I think I have a cassette of me at like 5 years old singing I think we're alone now. You know, it was a smash hit. You can't take that away from Tiffany.
Tiffany's still a babe, man. She's still a babe. Totally.
If it wasn't for Tiffany, where would Mall of America be?
Yeah, exactly. They would have closed down years ago.
No ice skating, no roller coasters, no Tiffany. That's what's going to happen.
I'm just going to look this up real quick because we're talking about Spotify streaming numbers. I want to see how many streams that Tiffany's I Think We're Alone Now. Which is a cover, by the way. It's a cover.
I'm going to say 80 million.
80 million. All right. 123,810,529. Tiffany. She's got 1 million monthly listeners. She's doing all right, you know?
She is fine.
Yeah, Tiffany's good. Yeah, totally. And I love how this conversation turned from Nirvana to Tiffany. But yeah, totally. Well, back to Nirvana and Nevermind and It Smells Like Teen Spirit. The thing about that record is that it still sounds awesome. When you put on Smells Like Teen Spirit, it still jumps out of the speakers. You know, that opening drum line from Dave is amazing. And I'm so happy that the youth of today, because I'm assuming that's where most of these streams are coming from, is today's youth, is that the youth of today are still discovering Kurt Cobain and his music, are still angsty and still discovering this great music. Same with Wonderwall or anything really. It's, you know, we talk about, it's different, right? Eve 6 and Third Eye Blind are not the same to me, obviously, as Nirvana and Oasis. Some people might disagree on Oasis, but Oasis is not a one-hit wonder. They don't have many hits in the US, but they have many, many hits and are a gigantic band. But Nirvana is never a band that people would be like, oh, they're better left in the 90s. That they are still, I know Kurt's no longer with us, but Nirvana is still a living, breathing thing. The people are discovering this music every day. So, and yeah, Butch Vic's production on Nevermind, it still sounds great. It doesn't need any modern polishes. It still sounds awesome.
Yeah, man. And that, it goes back to, we were just talking about ZZ Top and Tom Petty, and those are all Sound City bands, man. That room had something going on that really captured all those artists and was able to produce some of the best sounding rock and roll ever, like in the history of rock and roll.
Yeah.
And it's amazing that Dave happened to keep that board, and now that board's at their studio. And I think it has to do a lot with that room. I think everybody that came through that room got blessed, whether they knew it or not.
Yeah.
And that goes, I think even Milli Vanilli recorded there. It's like,
did they?
It's like everything that touched that room came
the
out
people
gold.
that did Milli Vanilli's voices.
Yeah. They weren't there. They were cleaning the room when it happened, and then they're like, let me take a stab at this.
Yeah. Do you think we'll get in trouble if I play the Smells Like Teen Spirit riff from YouTube? Do you think they'll give us a copyright strike?
I don't know. Let's see.
Turn that up.
Oh my God, they muted you.
There you go. Guitar's kind of out of tune. Sorry, guys. But
it's amazing.
You're
making me jealous. I just want to jam again. That's all.
I know. It's coming up, Dave. I got my second vax. We're vaxxed, bud.
We're vaxxed. We're all vaxxed up.
Yeah, for sure. We're good to go. Ready to jam.
We should change our band name to the Open Mouth Kisses.
Yeah. Just change it to Tongue. All Tongue.
Yeah. Yeah, don't come see our band. You're getting open mouth.
Exactly. Like, oh, hi, thanks for coming to see us. This reminds me of an episode of Friends where like Chandler's he kisses Monica and he doesn't want people to know that they're dating. So then he goes to the room and kisses Rachel too, and kisses Phoebe. Like that's what he does. He's like, nice to see you.
Goodbye. Yeah. I just watched that episode. I've been hammering some Friends reruns over the last little bit. Do you find that nostalgic shows like that, like the Seinfelds and the Friends, honestly, sometimes when I put it on, it's almost as good as meditating.
Yeah.
Like I put it on and like I just like I can zone out because I've seen it a million times or whatever. When I put it on, it's like it's almost like a heavy blanket almost. Like it's like it can take you to just like whatever's been bugging you to be like, oh, this is a good one, you know, and then you wait for it. But enough of us nerding out over Friends and
I've been watching The Simpsons lately. I've been working my way through The Simpsons.
Me too.
And it's all the stuff that I used to watch when I was a kid. And I remember all the jokes. I remember everything, and I'm still laughing because it's still hilarious. And it is a comfort thing. Same with music or anything like that. It brings you comfort if it's familiar, if it's something that you love. It is like meditating. It is like relaxation to do something.
Totally. And hey, speaking of The Simpsons, congratulations to Conan O'Brien for moving on from network television.
Yeah.
Going out. I know we're both big Conan O'Brien fans, so it's sad to see him go, but I'm sure he's probably got a Spotify deal in the works. So he's technically competition with us. So go fuck yourself, Conan, but have a good run.
Yeah, Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend is one of my favorite podcasts.
It's awesome. It's really good.
Awesome. Yeah, for sure. And he's an influence. He's always been an influence for us. Just as people, like his humor, his brand of humor is very much up our alley. And I remember watching like us hanging out years ago, watching Conan. Like we would be at your house, like watching TV, and I remember us watching Conan.
Yeah, man, I wouldn't be the man I am or the personality I am without a little Andy Richter and a masturbating bear.
Yeah.
Just the truth, people.
All the
just
rest
the truth.
That's how it is. Well, the conversation was about Nirvana. It ended on Simpsons and Friends and Conan.
Nirvana rocks. Everyone knows Nirvana rocks. 1 billion streams. It'll be 10 billion by the end of the year. They're not hurting. Courtney Love's doing fine.
Yeah. It Smells Like Teen Spirit. Still awesome.
Still awesome.
All right, let's wrap up our Rock Squad podcast. But first, we have to get to our tracks of the week. What do you got, Dave?
You know what? I've been listening a lot to Portugal the Man the last little bit.
Nice.
They're one of my favorite like festival bands. I've seen them a bunch of times at festivals. So Portugal the Man, Feel It, and Portugal the Man because it's summertime, The Sun.
Nice.
So 2 Portugal the Man tracks to check out. I love that band, originally from Alaska. relocated to Portland, Oregon. They're definitely a touring band. So if you haven't heard them on the radio or you don't know who they are, they definitely will come to your town. They definitely will play a rock and roll show, and you will definitely have a good time. So if you ever get a chance, go check out Portugal the Man. Nick, who's on yours?
I picked a couple of songs this week. We were talking Eve 6. I don't like the new EP, so I'm going to pick one of their older songs from 2003 from the album called It's All in Your Head. There's a song on that record called At Least We're Dreaming, which is an awesome. Do you know that song, Dave?
I do know that song.
That's a great song. It's a great rock and roll, rock tune. So Eve 6, At Least We're Dreaming. And the song that I've heard the song before, but I only really became a fan of it over the last year. Because it's on the Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey soundtrack.
Cool.
And I'm not a hair metal fan by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a song by Winger, which is an 80s hair metal band, or early 90s hair metal band. And it's a song called Battle Stations. It is a great song. It's like, I don't know, it's very anthemic. It's It's in the movie. It's in Bill and Ted. There's a great scene. I think it's when the station is putting together the robot Bill and Ted's, and they're riding in the van, right? I don't know if you haven't heard it, it's one of my favorite songs. It's one of those songs like you're like, yeah, right? Battle Stations, right? So if you haven't heard Winger, Battle Stations from Bill and Ted, you should definitely check it out. Those are my tracks of the week.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right, so let's wrap up the show. You can follow me at The Walking Nick, and where can the folks follow you, Dave?
You can follow me, Red Coast Records, on Facebook, Red Coast Records on Instagram, Red Coast Records on the Twitter. We play in a rock and roll band. We play rock and roll ourselves. We write original music and we release it to the world. It's foolsunion.com, Fools Union on Spotify, Fools Union on Apple Music. Anywhere you get your music, you can get our music. Make sure you sign up for the mailing list. Make sure you comment on the video below. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. We need you. We need your support. You've been so great so far, but we're building it. We're building this amazing network of people to give amazing content to, all based around rock and roll. I think that's it. Have I missed anything, Nick?
No, man, we're good to go. Tomorrow's Canada Day, so happy Canada Day to our
happy Canada Day
brothers and sisters. Yeah.
Rock on, my friend.
Rock on, Dave. We'll see you next week.
Next week.